What's up, y'all? Super
What's up? What's up?
NFL season's over. How y'all doing today? We doing this a little early. I gotta be on travel Thursday, and I'm going to the 21st, so that had to get it done early. But yo, James, how you doing, bro?
Man, beautiful, blessed, bro. You already know.
Yeah, yeah. Pete was good, brother. I see you rocking that Giants shirt, man. New season.
Oh, always. No. Even when they was out of it, I always
Yeah,
rock. I always rock this, man, because it's what it is. I don't. I've been around for the good, and I'm around for the bad. So
Yeah, I didn't put my Patreon on because I took it off. But I got lucky. I ordered like three shirts, right? And they didn't send me, and they sent it to me again. They sent it to the wrong address. So they sent
mm,
me again, and then somebody else sent me the one I had already ordered. So
no,
I got two of each. You know what I'm saying? So, and I got other stuff, but I want to buy more to keep in the closet in here. So when we record, I just throw it on. But today I was running errands and stuff, man. So look, man, Super Bowl Sunday happened. I know I picked the 49ers. I thought 49ers was going to be on paper, I felt they had the weapons to match up defensively. We all know what Patty was going to do and be. Um, Offensive linemen, some were out, some tackles were out, and we thought maybe another repeat of the Super Bowl against the Bucks where he don't have protection. The game started out pretty good. 49ers came out swinging, right? They were up 10 zip, I think. And then the Chiefs put up, I think, 3 points before they went into the half, came back out, got the ball, put seven, and there was a back and forth overtime. Um, 49ers chose to take the ball first. Later on comes out that the 49ers ain't know some of the players didn't know the rules of overtime in the playoffs. So we're gonna talk about that a little bit. But I'm gonna start with Pete. Pete, what was your takeaway on the game, man? Like, what was your there go June right there. Look, right on time. June, what up, bro?
Yo, what is the word?
yo,
How you feeling?
hopeful.
Like a burnt biscuit, man.
Well, look, man, I just asked Pete the question, what was his takeaway from the Super Bowl? I recapped a little bit of the stuff, the time the game, going to overtime, 49ers not knowing the rules of overtime, taking the ball first. Pete, what was your takeaway on it?
very similar to what we spoke about last time with these dudes getting over the hump. Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen getting over that Patrick Mahomes hump, and now Shanahan. He's in the third time he's had a 10-point lead, and they give up the lead. He ends up losing the game. Patriots, Chiefs before, now Chiefs again. But what I took from the game was, as far as during the game, was the Chiefs kept it steady. Didn't panic after they didn't do too hot in the first quarter. They never lost their cool and just kept it chill. And look what happened. Let the 49ers shoot themselves in the foot. That punt, I think, was the biggest turning I,
Mm,
I guess the muff punt, I guess you want to call it that, even though it went off one of the guy's foot. That was, to me, was the big, because very next play they scored a touchdown, and it's like, yeah, that momentum switched really quick.
Yeah, this was right.
And then I don't know how much of a impact this guy, the linebacker getting hurt, was. He's not their best player. I'm not saying that he's not a good one, but he's not their best player. But him going out, it was a great game. I thought it was a great game. Went to overtime, and it was all around great game, man. But Chiefs, props to the Chiefs, man.
Yeah. Give him credit. June?
Um, it was an interesting game. It was like it was in my opinion, it was always the 49ers game to lose, and they did. Um, and the craziest thing about it, right? Just my two biggest things about this game is gonna come from a player and from a team. From from a player standpoint, we spoke briefly about it. Um, Purdy had to be the playmaker, not the manager in this Super Bowl. And playing the manager role in the Super Bowl got them this loss as far as a quarterback goes, in my personal opinion. He in the second half of the Detroit Lions game, Purdy was the playmaker. They came back, they make plays, and they won that game because of Purdy's execution in the second half to do what he does and show why he was Mr. Irrelevant. In this game, he managed the game well. He didn't make no crazy mistakes or anything like that. However, I think the Super Bowl is the game where you make those plays. Those plays are gonna go in the record books. You're not gonna get this do over. You probably won't get this opportunity again. And if you do, good. You know, I'm not saying that I wish him the worst or anything like that. However, this is the opportunity for you to be this playmaker. And I think that was probably one of the biggest hits as far as the 49ers go. As a team standpoint, from my personal opinion, I have to give the Kansas City Chiefs so much credit. That team, in my opinion, I counted them out. I didn't think they were the team. There was so much there were so much more talent over other teams that I think should have been in the Super Bowl, aside from the Kansas City Chiefs. But here we are, saying that the Kansas City Chiefs are Super Bowl champions. Given the stretch, given the diversity that they faced throughout the entire year, they got a lot of grief from me. But I have to sit here, stand back, give them credit. They're Super Bowl champions, and I could just say experience won this game. I don't care how talented San Francisco was. San Francisco went in there with all that great talent, but I think they went in there misjudging the experience that was coming against them. On the other hand, that was just my take on that game.
James?
Man, we talked about this. You give Patty Mahomes a chance, and it's a chance you're gonna lose. But nah, it was a great game, I think. Obviously, turnovers on both ends. The game was played with passion on both sides. But for me, what did it was this. You know how we talk about those magical moments, like when you see a Brady out there, that last overtime drive when Mahomes, you could just feel him. You could feel it like he's not about to. He's not settling for no fucking field goal. This dude is. He's driving this team. It was just amazing to watch him, man. I got that Tom Brady feeling when they was driving. I'm like, it's over, dog. The play calling was elite in the clutch. Like you saw, I think it was the second quarter, right? They had a 4th and 2 or some shit. Man, they did a fake option or a fake sweep or some shit and got the first down. I'm like, bro, this is the moments where, like June said, you can't manage this shit. You gotta be great. You gotta make some plays. And I think Kansas City been down this road before. They got in familiar territory, and they knowing that San Francisco couldn't do nothing with the momentum they had, man. But like I said, it was a great Super Bowl. I'm glad it wasn't a blowout. But like you said, it comes down to you can't manage the game at this level. This is where you got to be great. You gotta do shit that takes you over the top. And unfortunately, it was one drive that decided the game. And what's funny is the refs even told these guys it's a brand new ball game. And to not know the rules after saying that is like, what are we doing, bro? Like, how do you go into the biggest game of your season and not know the rules? That's wicked. But I guess we're gonna talk about that too. But yeah, man.
That's a good transitional piece, man, because it comes out. So I say that we've seen this before, and you brought up Brady, and you saw it with New England for years, right? There was times New England was the best team on the field. But because of the situational awareness, situational football, coaching, preparation, execution, they ended up winning the game, whether it was a conference championship, a Super Bowl, or something, right? When you look at the Giants in 07, when they stopped the Patriots from going 19-0, that shit was belief. That was coaching. That was the team knowing I was watching the pivot with AP on it, and he was talking about how the coaching got them ready. You know, I think the beginning of the season, they go up 80 points and 1,000 yards on offense. They started the season bad on defense, but they turned it around. They got the team going. And one thing they did in the Super Bowl, he said that the coachings, I think Spagnuolo, allowed the players to make adjustments on their own and not wait for the play call. And that's what happened. That's what helped them beat the Patriots, right? So when you talk about, like June said, don't be managers, be great. Take charge of the game, play it. When you talk about coaching and situational awareness, like you said, it's not the only game of the season, it's the game of their life. Think about how many people play in football, have played the game of football and never saw a Super Bowl. Hell, Brandon Marshall never played in the playoffs. Let that sink in. And he played for like every 32 team. You know what I'm saying? Never played. So you're there and you don't do it. Coaching, like I said before, what Belichick said, players win the game, coaches lose them. And I throw it to Pete, Kyle Shanahan. You mentioned it earlier, 3 times now. Leads, double-digit leads going into the half or going into the fourth, whatever, and you blow it. Probably the biggest one he was the OC. He wasn't the head coach, but it was the Super Bowl 51 that he blew that lead. For not, in my opinion, not calling the right play calls on offense. All you had to do was run the ball and kill time, But in 2019 versus the Chiefs with the 49ers, had a good lead, blew it. And then this one, do you feel that he didn't call the right plays for Purdy to do what he had to do?
Well, yeah, he's the one who runs the show, and I know he wasn't the head coach for the Patriots game, but he was the play caller. He was the one calling the plays, and that's why he gets the credit for blowing that lead because it was on him. They chose to pass the ball. I think they got Matt Ryan had gotten sacked, so that's on him. That's on him, and these two losses in the Super Bowl with the 49ers are on him as well because he's the head coach. He's calling all the shots there. Yeah, it's on him. Look, Kittle. Did we hear from Kittle?
Mm-mm.
What happened with Ayuk? You got all these weapons. Of course, McCaffrey was going to get the touches. That's automatic because it's easier to get him the ball because he's a running back. But Debo had 11 targets, 3 catches. I mean, look, Kelsey. Everybody was saying he was washed. Andy Reid found a way to get him the ball.
Yeah.
How is this guy with all these elite weapons?
That's a fact.
No scrubs here. No, no dude that's on another team is not getting playing time. This dude is any guy from this lineup is shining on another roster. He couldn't get these guys the ball. That's all on. And I know a lot of talk was about Brock Purdy, but this is on Shanahan as well in my eyes.
James, we was talking about earlier, when we first came in the military, how we were trained to do the job. So when it's time to do the job, we do it, right? I always tell people one of my first things I remember when I got to the Truman, it was a pre-com. So we commissioned the ship, Green Crew. We did a lot of training on inert stuff, practice bombs and missiles. But when it came time for us to do our job and put warheads on foreheads, we did it effortlessly, and we didn't, nobody got injured. We didn't, they went through perfect because of the preparation, the training in that. Going back to the Super Bowl, the play calling, what does that say to you about that team? We already established that he didn't get the play callers, the playmakers, the ball. Some people could say Spagnuolo's defense showed up when they needed to, like applying pressure. But for me, when you got a McCaffrey, when you got a Debo Samuel, when you got an Elijah Mitchell, when you do have a Kettle, when you have a use check that you can, to me, everybody knows the Chiefs were suspect to the run. I'm pounding the ball with all 3 of those guys: Juszczyk, Mitchell, and McCaffrey and Debo. Listen, I know you don't want to be a running back, but guess what? Today we are pounding this whole pause, and we're going to give it everything we got to open it up. You know what I'm saying? But the more importantly, the playoff, the overtime rules. What is your take on that?
So you hit it on the head, right? Pause, like as well. But how do you watch the Ravens game against the Chiefs, not take notes? Like they had the recipe. Like the Ravens gave you the recipe. Run the ball, 1. 2, why you go away from what got you there? The same thing the Ravens did. Went away from got them there, and we see the result, right? That's like you said, when we related to Navy training, that's like you training for a damage control drill, and the day of you switch up what your guys are doing. Now, 1, your guys are confused. They have no confidence. And 2, you look terrible because why are you putting this much training into me just to change it up last minute? It showed, man, like how the hell you got arguably the MVP. Well, we are Lamar won it, but CFC was like damn near a front runner for MVP. And you underutilized this dude. I mean, Kittle's. I think he went back to the tent a couple times for an injury. Debo looked like he was hurt, and you still ignore all of those things and don't do what you were supposed to do, man.
Yeah, it was definitely, I think, a flop. No, listen, and when I say this, I'm not taking nothing away from Andy Reid and that team, right? I've talked about dynasties don't come just because you have great players. It comes because you have a great organization.
Mm-hmm.
Ownership down, and that's what the Chiefs have. You know what I'm saying? That's why they can pull out the upset by keeping the game close and then capitalizing on your mistakes because they've been in the trenches. They know each other. They know what to do. And there's trust in there. And that's what they have. It's from the ownership to the GM to the coaching to the players. First off, you got to have a great quarterback. They have that. You got to have at least one outstanding weapon, which Kelsey showed up in the playoffs, man. We talked this last time. What's more important? Are you playing the playoffs or the regular season? I'm a playoff person because in the regular season, you can lose a game and come back. But in the playoffs, you're one and done, and that's it. So whoever shows up in the playoffs, that's what you want. And Kelsey, he didn't really do a lot, but he did what mattered. He caught the plays, the passes that mattered, the first downs. I don't agree with the pushing of Andy Reid. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But I don't want to discredit what the Chiefs did because I think this is the best run they've had in all the Super Bowls because of how they got there with the team they got there with, But in June, in your opinion, how much blame is it on that coaching staff? Not just Shanahan, even Steve Wilks, the defense. You got Chase Young on one side, you got Nick on the other. You got Fred Warner in the middle. You got the weapon, and y'all was getting pressure. You sacked him 3 times. Remember, he didn't get sacked. He got sacked against the Ravens. That was the first time he got sacked since the AFC Championship against the Bengals. And now you sacked this man 3 times in one game. Y'all were applying pressure, and somewhere along the line that went different. What is your take on the defense on that side? We talked about the offense, but the defense that I thought can give them pressure. They picked them off. They got the fumble. They got turnovers. So, what's your take on that?
I'll tell you, initially when the game in the first half or whatnot, I think that defense for the 49ers were playing flawlessly. I really thought they were very dominant. I thought they were going in there. And with that type of defense, you can have a game manager in Purdy. In the second half, that defense, I don't know what happened. They left the playbook in the locker room. They gave it to Usher on the way out. I don't know what the hell happened. But when the game is that close in the second half, that defense has to now step it up or play very consistently because what you don't want is to be down 7 points again, or be up 7 points against Mahomes. James said it a million times. That guy will find a way. And that's the scary part about that team with the players that they have, like Frank's been saying. Like the players that they have with the team that they had throughout the year and the struggles that they had, now you're the defensive coordinator coming into the second half. In my opinion, that's when it counts. The first half is cool, but in the second half is what really counts. And for you to fold the way that you did, and not to mention the play that the Kansas City, the winning touchdown that the Kansas City won with, it was the same exact play that they beat the Eagles with last year. Take notes, my guy. Same exact play. If you take a look at it, same exact play, which is pretty interesting. I don't know. I still have to put it more on the offense rather than the defense. Shoot, I'm looking at these stats, man. These things add up quick. Mahomes rushing 66 yards, Pacheco 59 yards. There you go. Now you got over 100 yards just on the quarterback and your running back alone. And then you got your receiving. Kelsey 93, Hardman 57, Watson 54, Rice 39, 33, 22, 20. Like all those numbers
Everybody.
add
Mhm.
up like crazy. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, the defense did their thing. I just think they ran out of magic, especially when it counted.
Mm.
I mean, I agree. 100. I agree with all that. I was telling James before we started recording, and this is going to take me into the Travis Kelce thing. When we saw it, we texted. I said it was disrespectful. I said you never see nobody do that to Belichick. I don't think anybody would do it to Harbaugh, Coughlin. Coaches that we actually respect and look at. And I remember when, and Pete, this is your team, so you correct me if I'm wrong. When Tom Coughlin got there, oh my God, them Giants was upset. Tiki was upset. And there wasn't, if you didn't show up on time, but you never saw them disrespect them on the field. They might have complained outside, but when it came to the field, and listen, that shit paid off. Because when it came time for that team to play like a team and beat a powerhouse, that's what they did. You know what I'm saying? And it's because of that preparation and dedication. So I'm gonna start with June. What is your take on the whole Andy Reid and Kelsey thing? When Kelsey coming up to him, bumping him, and then grabbing his arm. Do you blame it on passion of the game? What do you make of that?
I think he grabbed his arm because he thought he was gonna fall, and he definitely didn't want that look on him. Initially I thought he bumped him harder. Well, I thought he was gonna fall, but I mean, shoot, Andy Reid's a big dude. Um, I was like, what is he doing? Like, this is national television. All eyes are on you. Millions of people are looking at this, and we will talk about this. We will talk about this on the Offside Play Call. I mean, our podcast. So this is not going to be swept under the rug. It might have been swept under the rug in the post game conference, but not in the damn podcast. So, I thought it was very immature of him, unprofessional, and I don't know. He almost looked like he was trying to show off because his girlfriend was in the stands or something, where she was. But
Was she?
yeah, she was in the booth. Yeah, hey. Like, watch this. He ain't gonna talk to me. He gonna give me the ball. And that's exactly what happened, though. Man, I thought it was very disrespectful. I thought it was very immature, very unprofessional. I think he should get fined. Because now you're kind of again, you're kind of setting that example for the younger folks to say, hey, when you get pissed off, you can bump your coach anytime you want to on national television, even if you're in the Super Bowl, and it's gonna be okay. Now, if like AJ Brown said, if he would have did it, shit, he would have been kicked out the damn league.
Yeah, he'd been out.
Or anybody, you know what I mean? This would have been all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that it hasn't been hit as hard as it should be on the news as far as the sports world go.
Mm-hmm.
James,
because it's him.
Oh, my bad, Drew.
No, you're good.
James, do you think that the reason it hasn't hit hard is because they won?
Oh yeah. Usually the winning overshadows kind of any disruption. We saw that with the Bulls. The winning didn't. It kind of overshadowed the friction that was in the locker room and with management with Jordan, Jerry Krause. But I'll say this, man, and I said this a while back because I always try to relate shit to Navy stuff. The longer you take to implement a standard, the harder it is for somebody to accept how serious you are when you're trying. So, because of the magnitude of that game and how he did it, you can't say nothing to somebody who does it next because you know what, it's gonna be like EO type shit. Like, bro, how can you literally on the biggest stage of a game get disrespected, but now when these guys giving you problems in the locker room, you trying to address it? Like, first of all, you should address. I'd addressed it live. Like
Yeah.
that'll be dealt with. We're gonna enjoy our moment right now, but for sure, as a player and as a professional, he knows and I know that we're gonna make that right. Like, you got to address that. The same what they say. If the disrespect is public, you got to show that respect public. Like Kelsey laughing it off. Like, that's what made it worse. He could apologize on the biggest stage. Like, hey, look, man, my emotions got the best of me. I apologize to coach. Something like that. My man laughing, talking about Viva Las Vegas. Like, come on, bro. Like, that's some. And then kids idolize you. You already know. You with Taylor Swift now. You're gonna have all the Swifties disrespecting their bosses. Like that. That should have came. The apology before he accepted any trophy or gave any speech. The first thing should have came out of his mouth was, "Hey, before we even talk about this win and how big it is to the team. I want to apologize to coach for something that transpired, and I let my emotions get the best of me. But nah, he laughed it off like this shit was. They act like it was nothing. Like, man, I think Antonio Brown even posted this shit on Instagram. Like, let that would have been
Like,
me.
if that would have been me, I would have been out the game. They would have
That's
kicked
crazy.
right then and
And
there.
you seen everybody come like, yeah, that's true. That boy would have been done.
Yeah.
It just shows where the game is going. Like we said, we talked about with the Belichick stuff. Like people don't have that level of respect anymore for not only somebody who's older, your head coach, bro. The work Andy Reid has put into this league. If you do that, bro, like ain't no goddamn way.
So, Pete, I think your sentiment is the same, but I'm gonna ask you a different question.
No, it's not.
It's not. Oh, let me hear it then. Let's go.
No, it's not. So I agree with James. Well, as far as what he said, that the first thing he should have did was apologize. But I think if he would have did that, like when they were accepting the trophy, kind of would have like overshadowed everything else. So maybe that's why he didn't do it. But I agree, definitely should have apologized. Two, Antonio Brown should not be saying shit. That dude is fucking nuts. This dude ran off the field without a shirt and retired. I'm not listening to anything he says. I don't care if he would have slapped Andy Reid in the face. I'm not listening to anything Antonio Brown says. But anyway, to go back to to get on the question, now I remember there was I think it was a story, a draft day story about when Travis Kelce got drafted, and Andy Reid called his brother and said, "Yo, is he gonna fuck this up?" And he said, "Nah, he's not." Like his brother co-signed for his former coach. So I think it's more of a comfort level. Do I think was it a good look? No. Do I think Travis Kelce doesn't have any respect for Andy Reid? Absolutely not. He absolutely respects him, and he thanked him for he gave him credit for his entire career. So it wasn't a good look, but I don't think it's a disrespectful level as like another example. Remember when Odell and Josh Norman was fighting on the field? In that same game, it was 4th and short for the Panthers. This is when the Panthers went to the Super Bowl. Panthers were the shit at the time. And Ron Rivera called them off the field. They were gonna punt or kick a field goal. I forgot where they were on the field, but they weren't going for it. And Cam Newton started bitching. And Ron Rivera checked him right there. He said, "Yo, don't do that." They showed Ron Rivera's face, and you could read his lips. He said, "Don't do that." That to me was disrespectful. But this for me, when I saw that, I was just like, wow. But if you add context to it, they explained it later. Kelce was taken out, and the guy who got the fumble was the guy Kelce would have been blocking. So I guess he felt like, yo, keep me in the game because we need this shit.
Yeah.
But I agree, not a great look. I don't think it's as disrespectful as people are trying to make it out to be, because I think there's history there. So that's why, and I think it's just like you say, he got caught up in his emotions with the game. I don't think it was that disrespectful as everybody's playing it out to be.
That's what Keyshawn said. Keyshawn said when he was asked the question on Undisputed, he said that it's not. He doesn't see it as that because it depends on the relationship that the coach has with the player. And they brought up the whole Jason Kelce vouching for his brother and stuff like that. So he was like that. There's a certain level of comfort, being comfortable and respect between each other to do that and not get in the way. They brought up Belichick, and he was like, well, Belichick didn't talk to the offensive weapons. He only talked to defense. And then they asked, what if LT would have did that? So Lawrence Taylor would have did that to Belichick when he was in the Giants and stuff like that. But I think you have a good point when you say it depends on the relationship. I think for me, sometimes how I look at it is regardless of the relationship, in the military, I can't have that. I can't have that. I don't care what's going on, because if you do it, then Seaman Smuckatelli that doesn't know me, hasn't done deployment me, probably didn't serve me before. Hell, I put it to you like this: what if somebody I recruited into the Navy, and now we there working together, and because I brought him in, I changed his life, and now it's like he can talk to me some kind of way, even though we had that relationship. I have to check it. Because if I don't, now I left the door open. That's how I see it to everybody else. And maybe if I don't do it at that point in there, me and him gonna have a conversation behind closed doors. I'm like, bro, you can't do that to me. Not everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Let me ask one question though.
Yeah, go ahead.
Play devil's advocate. Now everybody's Kelsey, Hall of Famer, right?
Yeah, he is.
Kelsey's a Hall of Famer,
Yeah.
established in this league, right? For years. It's not like, let's say Rashid Rice did it. Is it different if he does it and then Kelsey does it? Because Kelsey, okay, that's Travis Kelsey. They got, if I'm a rookie, I know they got a history together.
Yeah.
But if you see Rashid Rice do it, you're like, yo, what's wrong with this cat? This cat just came in here and he's doing this bullshit. I think there's a difference between Kelsey doing it and somebody else doing it.
I think that's where the lines get blurred because it's a respect for the position, right? Yeah.
Not saying it's okay. I'm sorry, Frank. Not saying it's okay. Not saying that.
It's look, to me, we can make it a big thing, or we could do like you said, the relationship, heat of the moment. It is what it is. I'm pretty sure that Travis Kelsey and Andy Reid had a conversation.
Absolutely. Yep.
It's all said and done. And as much as I talk shit about Kelsey, being a culture appropriate and fuck, I know he respects that man. Listen,
Culture vulture.
give him credit for the fade, bro. They give him credit for the fade. He didn't invent the fade, bro. He dated a black. I'm not
crazy.
We'll talk about
that.
Yeah, we're gonna keep it to football right now.
Frank, they catch you every time with the hook, man. They catch you every time.
They targeted Frank.
All the time they get Frank, yo.
The news does this, and it burns my biscuits. That's why I said I'm gonna give Nick Wright credit. He said, currently playing and coaching, that's the greatest that's doing it. And I could respect that because currently they're the standard. I was telling my cousin G, I said, yo, every team in NFL is going to build a defense or try to build a defense to stop that team. In the AFC and the NFC, it's no more about, NFC's wide open. AFC, that's the way to go. And if they're in the Super Bowl, you got to think, we got to beat them. We got to stop them. And the mistake that I see a lot of these teams do, and James said it, why do you go away from the blueprint that got to where you had to get to? You know what I'm saying? Like, it was something that Antonio Pierce said that he told Anthony Pierce, Antonio Pierce, AP for the Raiders, that he said that he told Max Crosby in the defense, hit Mahomes. Like, he has to feel it.
Yep.
Don't go in there and play around. Play right. Play with emotion. And that's all I be saying. Ask June. We on FaceTime every time they play. And I'll say it, man, that them defense players have to hit him. It does not matter. And, Bree be like, oh, well, they don't want to flag. No. Hit him. Hit him. You take the 15. That's fine.
Yeah.
He going through fights when he got to come across that line again. And they did this pussyfooting around shit that they do. It's like, and they take advantage of it. Again, situational football. Like, I guarantee you that the Chiefs knew what the overtime rules were. I guarantee you that the Chiefs knew what play they were going to call when they had to call it. Corn dog.
Oh, yeah.
They scored twice on the Eagles. You know what I'm saying?
Mahomes said it.
You, like June said, Patrick Mahomes knows when he got to be the manager and the playmaker. You know what I'm saying? Look at all, they had the most drop passes in the NFL.
Yep.
And they go into the playoffs and drop a pass to save their life. You know what I'm saying? Like, they drop a pass for nothing. And the thing about it is, Patty gave you an interception, right? When we was watching the game, June Rice said he'll give you one. He'll throw a pick. People think he doesn't. He makes mistakes. Before, the difference between Patrick Mahomes now and Patrick Mahomes in 19 and 18 was that Patrick Mahomes was forcing shit at times. And then he lost Tyreek and he had to rely on Kelsey. And they brought Juju, and he started taking what the defense was given. That's what the smart ones do. Oh, you want me to check it down? I'll check it down. You want to take away the top? I'm going to go middle. You know what I'm saying? It's they know how to manage the game, but they're not really managing the game. They're taking advantage of what's there. So I'm going to give credit where credit's due. You know what I'm saying? Kelsey, look, dude, I'm a Kettle and Gronk fan. I like, what is it? Pass blocking, protection. I like running. Tight ends that help you block and open the hole up, and I like catching tight ends. I just don't. If you want to be a wide receiver, bro, then be a wide receiver. You know what I'm saying? But a tight end's I'm traditional like that. But anyway, I'm off my box, man. I'm sorry.
And let's not forget really quick. Kelsey already came in this game a little hot-headed. I mean, you remember the playoffs? He threw his helmet when he got put out. I mean, that kind of somewhat ties into it. But needless to say, that was that. I do got a question for you guys after it's said and done. I'm gonna get you guys' opinion on it.
Okay, I just want to give a shout out to Pacheco, a Boricua in the
Mm.
Super Bowl.
Yes, sir.
And
Yes, sir.
Ray McLeod had the Puerto Rican flag and his helmet too. I don't know if he's Puerto Rican or if his girl is or not, but you know what I'm saying. When the Patriots played the Giants in the Super Bowl, I think in 2011 or 12. Remember that one? It was Victor Cruz and Aaron Hernandez. Every time they caught a touchdown, I played Puerto Rico by Frank Curtis in the background. I was in Bahrain and shit, man. But shout out to the Boricua. His grandma's watching the Super Bowl from the house in Puerto Rico. I think it's dope for have representation finally in the NFL that's doing something. But anyways, June, go ahead, ask the question you want to ask.
I do got a question, man. It's kind of crazy, right? Genius move. There you go. I'm probably gonna read y'all minds now. Genius move or no genius move? Keep Tony out of the playoffs and say he's hurt.
Hey, that was smart. He got 2 rings though. Listen, he got 2.
Yep, exactly. Exactly, right?
One Super Bowl he was actually active for and won, and now this one he did. Look, Shady McCoy says he's a 2-time Super Bowl champ. Can anybody tell me what he did in the Chiefs on the Super Bowl and what he did for the Bucks in the Super Bowl? Not a fuck thing. But he's got 2 rings.
Was he partying with Kansas City after the game or not?
Yes, he was. Oh, KT? Kadarius?
Yeah.
Nah, man, that motherfucker.
Yeah.
Probably he's right now. I would, if I was Andy Reid, I wouldn't drive none of my cars at least for a whole week. You know what I'm saying? I get all them checks.
Oh man.
He man, look, genius, bro. I mean, so I got a question for you guys, kind of off script. Is Mahomes the most talented quarterback you've ever seen? And I will tell you why I asked the question. I'll start with June, Pete, and then James.
I won't say the most talented. I'll say most clutch. I think when it came down to when it came so far, when it comes down to I mean, shoot, man, you're definitely afraid if you're in a defense and you're down 3 points. I mean, we've seen it plenty of times, especially against the Bills at one time. All he needed was like 13 seconds to eliminate them from the playoffs. But I mean, man, I'm kind of bouncing around from talented to clutch to dangerous, right? I mean, there's a bad man. I mean, ultimately, I think he's a bad man. He executes regardless of how he is seen as far as the next Tom Brady, X, Y, and Z. But I think he executes well, and he backs up what the ladder that he's climbing, you know. And I have nothing to say, but I think he's a dangerous man back there in the league right now, hands down, the most dangerous man right now. I don't see any other quarterback saying during in the Super Bowl, down 3 points, you're gonna go score a damn touchdown with the same play you beat the Eagles last year, and you're gonna make it happen. You know, I think he's a bad man at the end of the day. You know, shout out to him.
Didn't Miko Harmon catch one of those touchdowns last year too?
No, he was
Yeah,
no, it was Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney.
Oh, yeah. All right, Pete, what about you? You think he's the most talented?
Right now.
Right now in the league, yes.
No, I think the question was the most talented ever.
That one is tough because it's like and the whole Jerry Rice thing that I got with Randy Moss, to me, that's why I picked Randy Moss. I feel he's more talented than Jerry Rice.
Okay.
So talented, it's tough because I look at John Elway, I look at Marino, Aaron Rodgers, but I put him in that same category with those guys. That they have elite arms, they're able to move around. You know, I know Marino wasn't as mobile as John Elway or Rodgers or Mahomes, but I put those 4 in the same category as far as the the most talented I've seen is those four. So it's tough for me to say ever, but he's right there with those guys. Because I think he's like Aaron Rodgers 2.0. You know what I mean? Like he's just winning a little bit more. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? And he's not a weirdo like this guy.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you why I started laughing when you said that. But James, what is your take on it?
I can't say most talented because the game of football is played on both sides. So if he don't get those rings and he still puts up the same numbers, we won't be talking about that. We talk about that based on his ability, yeah, but also the chips. So you know what I'm saying? Let's say they would have lost this, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. I mean, he's one of them ones. He's a generational talent. I'll say this to me, he's one of the most. Matter of fact, I'll go as far as to say he's the most poised quarterback that I've ever seen in situations like that. Like we just talked about, 2 minutes on the clock. You don't see him, bro. He looked comfortable like that shit is the first quarter. Like ain't nothing wrong. The dude don't get rattled, bro. And a lot of the great quarterbacks make dumbass decisions in the clutch when it's pressure. Like Lamar, like bro, that fucking interception into triple coverage, bro. Mahomes ain't making that dumbass pass with another down to go. No, you ain't doing no dumb shit like that.
No.
Dude is poised, bro. Dude looks like he was born with an NFL fucking contract. Since he stepped in the league, he didn't look like no rookie, bro.
So I'll tell you this, right? The reason I asked the question is because it was proposed on First Take. Not First Take, on Speak.
Speak.
Yep. And James Jones said that he's not the most talented quarterback he's ever seen. He said it was Aaron Rodgers. He said, if anything, when Aaron Rodgers came out, they were looking for the second Aaron Rodgers, which he would say is Patty Mahomes. The only difference is he wins a little bit more than Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel he's the most talented ever. And here's why. Because Rodgers came before him, because Matthew Stafford came before him, because all these other quarterbacks that we praise Mahomes. This is the thing, and this is why I go back to the whole the news people, why they reel me in, right? Because I feel like they live in the moment, the microwave instant success they live in right now, and it's like they forget. And what bothers me with a lot of these guys is like Acho, Shady McCoy, all these guys that played the sport, not the Joy Taylors and Nick Wrights, because they didn't play. You know what I mean? So they don't know. They're going off what experience and watching and years of studying tells them. But the people that play, they understand what it takes to be great consistently or to get to a certain level. And let's say if Brock Purdy if Mahomes would have did what Brock Purdy did against the Lions, and some of those plays, we would have been talking about Purdy, like it would have been talked about, like blown out the water. You know what I'm saying? But it was because it was Purdy, it wasn't. But Mahomes throws a sidearm pass, we act like we never saw it before. But Stafford been doing that for a long time, and Rodgers did the no-look passes. Rodgers done it. Hell, remember that one playoff run when Rodgers won the game with 2 Hail Marys back to back?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like this is I can't say you're the most talented ever when there's a mug that's playing right. 2 people that are playing right now that were doing it before you even stepped on the field to play. But what I say he's probably the most, I would say poised, like you said. I'll take that. I'll say his football IQ is above, is out there. That's why I think this dude is so good, because he is, you said it, over time, they got they knew the rules. And they're like, oh, we got this then. And they were moving the ball in that defense. I think he figured it out. That's what I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
That by the overtime came, he figured it out. So I don't think he's the most talented ever. Is he probably the most talented actively right now because he's winning the chips? Yeah, but before him, there was Rodgers and Stafford. You said Elway. I mean, Marine was throwing for 5,000 yards with no receivers and it was not passing. It was, you couldn't even come across the middle. They would take your head off. So I can't say he's the most talented ever. But I give him credit. The dude is nice. You know what I'm saying? Dude is nice. He was the missing piece, to that team, and they got it. Kyle Shanahan, I know we talked about his coaching, his play calling, decision makings, but now, what is it? 3 Super Bowl appearances, 2 as a head coach, 1 as an OC, all 3 losses. Where do you rank him in the active head coaches right now? I'll go with Pete first.
I mean, obviously he's good. What sucks is that he went up against Belichick And then the last 2 times against Andy Reid, when he was the head coach, he went against Andy Reid. And these are arguably like some of the top coaches like in the history of this game. Andy Reid and Belichick. So it sucks for him because he's not going to get a layup in the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? He's not going to face some coach who has no business being there. I think he's a great coach. He's a great play caller. He's been around for a minute. It seems like when the lights get bright, he's not stepping up, and he's been out coached. So it's tough because again he's going up against legends. So it sucks for him, But I think he's one of the best coaches in the league right now. And it's been said it's not easy to win games, much less championships in this game in the NFL. So I mean it's good to have that he's taken 2 teams that he's the head coach of to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But getting over that hump, he has a monster standing in his way. He's got Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes standing in his way both times. So I'm sure he doesn't want to hear that. The just getting there is good enough, but he still got work to do, to get to be in the same league with these guys when it comes to championships. He had a chance at 2, had a 10-point lead in both of them, and couldn't hold it. So we'll see what happens. But I think he's still up there, top 3, top 5 coach in the league.
What about you, James?
Yeah, I think he definitely top 5, man. When you think about what he was going to face, regardless of who came out of the AFC, it was going to be tough for that dude, man. He's just on the shitty end of the conference, bro. Like, he's great in that conference, but when you play an AFC team in the fucking Super Bowl, it's a different ball game, bro. But like you say, how many coaches get there multiple times, multiple trips?
Yep.
It just don't happen. Like the dude. Listen, I think if they don't get that fumble recovery off of boy Hill, we talking about the San Francisco 49ers are Super Bowl champs right now. That play changed the whole, the extra point too. But that play gave them like 10-yard, like, first and 10, bro. Like it's so momentum. Like I think June or Pete said it. The momentum was over at that point. Like, bro, we kick off, we punt to you and we recover it at the 10, and all we gotta do is go 10 yards. Come on, bro. But yeah, he's top 5 in the league, bro. I think his spot solidified. Like, some people's resume are weak as hell. This dude has been there multiple times, and he's consistent. It's just he got to find a way to go there, huh?
June, your take, obviously, where do you rank him at? But if you had a replacement, who you replace him with?
Oof.
I had to replace Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah.
I put Vrabel over there. Why not? Or Belichick. Shit, at this point, one of the two. But probably more than likely, I'll probably put Belichick over there, just given the experience. And hey, you guys been there? I've been there quite a few times. Let me show you how to win this.
Man,
and that's how that would be my opening statement if I was Belichick, walking into that locker room. But I mean, good. He looks like a nice guy. He looks like a nice guy. But again, going into that game, it was his game to lose. We talk about playmakers and managers, and I think he failed to manage this game. And for that reason, he failed to manage the Super Bowl more than once. So I ain't gonna rank him pretty high. He's a good coach. I ain't gonna rank him pretty high. Dang, I was gonna say something, took myself out of train of thought. Oh yeah. I mean, shit, man. Mahomes, the Kansas City Chiefs gave you the ball twice. They gave you the ball when Pacheco coughed it up.
Yep.
Then they gave you the ball again. When nobody threw the pick. So and you weren't able to capitalize on that. So and that's another reason why I say I wouldn't blame too much of the defense over the offense. So you had opportunities, you just couldn't get it done.
So I think this question is going to go with one question that Pete asked before was, did the Chiefs face any adversity in the playoffs? And we all gave our answers. I said no, but being that this run, they went and won it, right? So now we got to talk about it again. Was this the best run ever for Patrick Mahomes, or one of the best runs in the Super Bowl ever? And did they face the adversity? Do you now look back at what he had to beat to get to where he got to, the NFL MVP, top 4 ranked offenses, top 4 ranked defenses, on the road, being the underdog in the Super Bowl? Did he face adversity? And is this one of the greatest runs in the Super Bowl, if not the greatest run in the Super Bowl? I'll start. I'm going to go with Pete first. Pete, go ahead.
It's one of the greatest ones because, like, when I brought up the question of the adversity, remember we heard all year long, look, Kadarius Toney, look, June said was a genius that they benched him, and it's like, yo, that's crazy that everybody's looking at like that, like, yo, we're gonna keep him out so he don't, off his hands up into the air for the other team. Happened a couple of times this year. Cost them a win against Buffalo because he was offsides. But I look, and when I brought up adversity, it was because a lot of people were talking about, oh wow, it's they're on the road for the first time. Meant nothing. They went to Baltimore, they went to Buffalo, the number 1 and 2 seed in the AFC, and now the number 1 seed in the NFC. So it's like dealing with the drops this year. Oh, they don't look the same. They lost to the Raiders at home, so I absolutely believe they faced adversity. Is it the best run? No, because the Giants were a 6 seed. They were a wild card. Went all the games on the road, and they won the chip. So I'll put it up there. It's definitely up there. I would never say one is better than the other one, because they all ended up with championships. But I know the Giants, when they had their run, they beat Green Bay and they beat Dallas. Those are the 1 and 2 seeds as well, and then of course the Patriots. So it's up there though, man. I don't take this year lightly with what they had to go through, because they went through the gauntlet, and Josh Allen, and look, quarterbacks, Josh Allen, MVP Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, they went through that. They went in their house and they beat them. So definitely a great run, up to one of the best ever.
James?
Yeah. I'm gonna say, I ain't gonna say it's the best, because like you say, it's hard to compare. But when we look back at it, I think years to come, we look back like, God damn, they put that work in, bro. They, like you said, they got my boys at home, number 1 defense, number 1 offense. They took out some fucking, they took out some giants, bro. Like, yeah, I think it was definitely up there. It's one of the best. It's gonna easily be arguably one of the best runs. And then even to win in overtime and show that poise and run the field like that on that fucking drive, it's just like, yeah, it's like one of those magical playoff moments, bro. I think it's up there. It's definitely up there. It's arguably the best. Put it like that.
June?
No, I agree. I think to start the year off with an L after winning the Super Bowl, right? You play at home and you take the very first game of the season and you take that loss against the Lions, right? Which would have been insane. Super Bowl would have been like the rematch, right? I never thought about it until now. But you take that first L at home against the Lions. You have all those issues with everybody dropping all those passes. Then you go in a span where you start losing some of those games, those critical games. And I thought that the run was over. I really thought that the Mahomes era was done. And then they go on this crazy run. And they go on the run when they counted the most. And that's the clutch part of the quarterback and coaching and team aspect of things. That's why I gave them credit, because they went on the run when it counted the most, and they got it done. So I agree with what everyone is saying here. I can't tell you it's the best one, but I think it's a great one.
I think looking at now, they did face adversity in the numbers of the rankings. I just still think that despite the people they played, they were the best composed. You know what I mean? Like, the experience was there. but you can't knock the number 1 seed, the number 2 seed, the number 1 defense, number 1 offense. It didn't matter. Is it the greatest run ever? No, it's not. You had the Giants with 6 seed, the Steelers with a 6 seed. You know what I'm saying? The 72 Dolphins with undefeated season. You know, a lot of other teams had to go through the gauntlet. You know, you had Brady with the Bucks that beat Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, and you know what I'm saying, Mahomes to actually win the Super Bowl. He went on the road to do that as well. So it's one of those things where you can't say is the best one ever. It's up there definitely with your Ravens from like 2000, right? 2000. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And even that what they did in that playoff run is better than what they did, in my
That
opinion.
defense won that whole fucking
Yeah,
playoff
when
run,
you
bro.
holding top of
We had Trent Dilfer running that fucking show over there, bro.
that's what I'm saying. Like it's to me, you could say that that's probably one of the greatest runs because of their defense holding total 23 points, not
Yeah, that's just great.
the whole ganglet. You know, they kept the Giants to 7 points in the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that defense was not giving up points. But I think is Mahomes' greatest run. And
Mm.
the only thing that would top this is if he can pull out a 19 or 20-1 season or whatever it is. I mean, 20-0 season. That's the only thing that's going to top this because I think this was his best performance because of the weapons he didn't have and where he had to go to get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm always going to say, I think to me, Brady's greatest play of Super Bowl was going to be 51 because of what they had to overcome. First time ever going in overtime. Biggest deficit at the time was the most yards thrown in one game. They ran over 100 plays on total.
Mm.
On the Patriots ran them, and you know, it's just to me that's Brady's best performance. You know what I'm saying? In my opinion, but I think it's Mahomes' greatest run. You know, and every other one he's been the number 1 seed, and you know they just been waxing people left and right. So, June, you had one last thing.
Yeah, so one, well, two things really. The very first one is, I don't think we talk about the Kansas City defense enough, right? I don't think they get enough credit. And we talk about Mahomes, we talk about the coaching, we talk about the players. But I mean, shoot, man. I think this defense, and I was thinking it throughout the Super Bowl too. This defense, I mean, they shut down Kittles. They were all over Debo Samuel. They
Mm-hmm.
they were Ayuk did his thing, you know what I'm saying? But still, they pressured Purdy. Purdy only had like 12 rushing yards. On his average 70 or some weird stuff like that. I think that this defense, to me, I don't think they get enough credit. And I wasn't a believer in the defense ever. But as that run went by, it was proven. It was like, damn, this defense, it could be a serious thing for that team next year if they tighten up. What do you guys think?
So I'm on the fence about defense. They were the last in rushing. They got, in my opinion, they got handled by the Bills at the line of scrimmage because I think the Bills played the Chiefs the best in this run and gave them the most problems. But I'm gonna give credit where credit's due. Steve Spagnuolo, he got beat a few times. But when he mattered, when he needed to apply the pressure to make Purdy throw off target throws and throw early or not be able to go through his progression, they showed up. They showed up. And in a few of the plays you watch, the number 78, their offensive lineman was blowing. They actually had it. I think I put in the chat that he sold on the Super Bowl because at one point you see the defender coming and the defender's coming at him and he's looking right. And he's letting
Mm-hmm.
go right by him. It's like he's not even trying to block him. Like he's blowing the assignments. And when you have that, with a team that's based on timing, then it throws off everything because there was a few passes that he overthrew Jennings. One to the touchdown, that would have been a touchdown. One to Ayuk that was open, but because he had Chris Jones or somebody coming, he had to get rid of it. Yeah, I think So I'm gonna give them credit. I think they played well. Obviously, they won and they kept them to what 17 points or 19 points, whatever it was. I forgot what they had. The five was 16, 19 or whatever.
19.
Yeah, they had them 19 points. But at the same time, I feel like the play calling got predictable after a while. If you look at some of the run plays with McCaffrey, it's like the defense knew they was going to be there. There was no scheming. There was no look at the one they schemed up where Jennings threw the touchdown, and then he caught a touchdown. It was like, where's that at? You know, Andy Reid is good for having a few plays in his sleeve that's gonna, trick it up and get you confused. Where are you, Shanahan, with the calling to get Debo open, to get Kittle out there, to allow CMC as a quick slant, get him the ball. I think a lot of times they were very predictable in their play calling, and maybe that was the Chiefs watching film. But yeah, I give them credit. The defense is what kept them in the game in the beginning of the season. Remember, the defense was what allowed them to win them games. But to me, yeah, they did good. Spagnuolo did it right. When it mattered, defense shut up. They didn't get no picks. They got a fumble on McCaffrey early in the game, and then the muff punt off the heel, which I think they should change that rule. If it doesn't touch the punt, the returner, then it shouldn't count because that's messed up. If I'm running and you happen to shank the kick and I don't know and it hits me, there's nothing I could do about it. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's something the NFL want to look at. Now, if let's say James is the punt returner and he grabs it and muffs it, then yeah, that's a free ball. But if it hits June in the back of the head while he's running, that's not his fault. You know what I mean? It's not right. But do I think the defense was good? Yeah, I think the defense was good. I give him credit. Spagnuolo did right. He did right. How many sacks they had on Purdy? They had one at least, I think, right? They were getting
had one sack, yeah.
One sack. So come on, they didn't do nothing. They applied pressure. They got to him when it mattered. One sack, no interceptions, one fumble recovery. But I think what really mattered the most was the pressure that was applied when it needed for him to create a play, which made him look like a game manager, not a game changer. That's my take on it.
Cool. You guys got anything for that?
Yeah. It's hard to say that. I mean, the defense wasn't elite at all. The last two games, the offensive play calling was just in their favor. Like the Ravens ran the ball 11 total times. That's trash against the worst defense. And then this game, CMC barely, got plays that favored him. So yeah, they didn't give up. They didn't give up anything that that was special. So they did their thing. That's all you can ask for is the W. So I mean, yeah, they did what they had to do, but it goes to show like 2 games in a row, these elite offensive teams don't do what they do offensively. That's been elite all season. Like it was even a play in the Ravens game where Lamar looked like he had a break, like he broke it. It looked like he was about to break it for a touchdown and like slow down or some shit. And I'm like, when did Lamar ever do that? Like you get ahead of the secondary and now all of a sudden you stop him. Like, but yeah, I think like we said, man, they did. That's all you asked for. At the end of the day, the W's matter. So they could have gave up 500 yards, and if they would have won, we it still don't matter.
No, I think Pete.
Yeah, just given I don't know where I heard it, but they said they kind of, when the Ravens beat up the 49ers pretty good, and they kind of mimicked what they did, and they played man. They played a majority of the time they played man on them, and I guess that's that's not, you man them up. You got the corners that they have. The Ravens got good corners to man them up, and they got 2 young corners to man them up. And you take away those free releases and them running through zone is easier than trying to get off of man coverage. So that's what we saw, man. That's why these guys don't have eye-popping numbers in the Super Bowl, because they was locked up. They was locked up, man. 11 targets and only 3 catches. That says something right there, yo.
Crazy.
I'm gonna say this, and that's gonna be my last thing on it because I'm ready to move past it like a bad breakup. Nah, coaching matters, bro. Coaching matters. Preparation matters. Execution matters. And I'm a firm believer that if you go out there prepared, even with mediocre players, you can still beat the Giant. And that's what you saw in the Chiefs. They were prepared. They were ready. Spagnuolo tightened up. When he got beat, he got beat. When he needed to fix it up, he fixed it up. Andy Reid on offense. There was a few times they sacked Mahomes 3 times and they got to him. And look, after that, it was like they couldn't get to him. Certain things, it's certain adjustments that are made in a game that comes from the coaching that separates a champion from everybody else. And that's what we saw this whole season with the Kansas City Chiefs is an adjustment every single game to win a game, to get to the next one, to get to the next one. Even when they lose, it's an adjustment to get to the playoffs and say, you know what? Out of all the teams here, we have the most experience. We have the best quarterback in the league. We have arguably the best coach in the league at the time. So it's like, hey, coaching matters. In my opinion, the coaching staff on the 49ers didn't adjust where the Chiefs adjusted. So, that's just that's my take on it.
All right. And then the last thing for me, it was something I was reading earlier, right? End of the season, Super Bowl's over, really, really fast. On each of our teams, if you had to pick one player that you cannot afford to lose due to free agency, who would it be? I'll start. I'll tell you Hassan Reddick. That's just my pick from Philadelphia Eagles. Frank, who's your pick?
That's hard for my team because Jesus. No, honestly, man.
Jesus is not in your squad right now.
I'm gonna probably go Matt Judon on defense. He was definitely missed when he got hurt this year. Even though we still had a top 10 defense, but him being out as a pass rusher, as a person that's disruptive, very vocal. I don't know if he's a free agent this year or not. I don't know, but that's one player I don't think we give up on defense. I think that's the only thing we don't give up on offense. Scrub the whole entire fucking team, bro. Let's start from scratch. But on defense, Matt Judon is definitely a keeper for me.
All right, James, who you got?
Offense I couldn't give up Andrews, man, because he got hurt and came back, so we didn't see the best of him. But you couldn't. Tight end is where it's at right now, man. Those dudes make like Frank said, man. Traditional tight ends that block, that do the things that you don't really pay attention to, and free up your quarterback to make plays. Free up your quarterbacks that have time to make big plays when the pressure's coming. So definitely Andrews' defense. I mean, we got weapons over there, bro. I don't know. I don't think it's an integral centerpiece for that defense. I think that historically, the Ravens have a good job of making players just better. And like Frank said earlier, it's not about the defense, but the organization, the culture of that defense is rooted. The Ravens are rooted in defense, bro. You see Suggs and fucking Ray Lewis coming out there getting them boys hyped up. So yeah, defense, I don't know. It's a lot of pieces over there. So I don't really think it's one guy that we would lose that would just disrupt the whole defense. But yeah, offense is Mark Andrews. You're not gonna find too many quality tight ends that's available out there.
About you, Pete? Who you not letting go on these Giants?
So it's free agents for real, or just anybody on the team that you shouldn't lose.
No, free agents. For real. I know you guys got quite a few, I think.
Very similar to Frank, and pretty much anybody who's if the only free agents I could see that are worth keeping, Saquon and Xavier McKinney, the safety, but they may let them both walk. So again, it's very similar to Frank's situation. They're still in the rebuild. So they had a good year last year, but this current year was not good. They regressed to get back. They kind of went backwards. So Saquon, Xavier McKinney, either one, I think they're both gone though.
Dang.
I think so too. I think Saquon's gone.
Yeah. Wasting his years away, man.
Riddick, I say Riddick needs to stay too, June. I mean, but that's the thing with these teams, right? I don't know. I guess when we record later on, we can come back with cap spaces and who's negative that has to get rid of players or restructure deals and stuff like that. Excuse me. Like I was telling G, you know, we don't know what next year's gonna look like.
Mm-hmm.
And Harbaugh going to the Chargers, AP down with the Raiders. The Ravens. I think they shouldn't let Odell go. I would keep Odell, maybe to a friendly deal because he does bring experience. He does bring that mentorship to the locker room, and he did great this year. I think he as far as talking to the players, and you got a dog in Zay Flowers. So,
Yep.
the Giants. What do you do at quarterback? Do you get rid of Dane Dimes? Do you bring DeVito in? Do you go after a veteran? Saquon, do you let him go somewhere else so he could try to probably go to a team where he could just sit the bench, come in and win a ring like Shady McCoy did? Giants was the defense at. That's the biggest thing with Giants. It was always defense. They never really had an explosive offense that I can remember, but the defense was always there. You know what I'm saying? Eagles, what are you gonna do? You got two wide receiver ones on both sides. Your offense is pretty good. Your defense is the secondary was the biggest, I think, obstacle, right?
Yeah. Get rid of everybody but Slay.
And for the Patriots, now with no Belichick, what is Gerard Mayo going to do? They're hiring a lot of different people, and he's bringing a lot of ex-players in. Like Hightower's going to be the middle linebacker coach. They're bringing somebody else in to be the outside linebacker coach. It's to me, my team needs to focus on defense and efficient offense because we didn't do shit when we had Randy Moss and Wes Welker, but we did a lot better when we had just Edelman, Amendola, Hogan, and Gronk. So, of course, we had Brady. That makes a big difference. But, for us, I mean, what is it going to look like next year? The Chiefs might not have the same easy road or have another road like this. The Chargers might come out swinging, and guess what? They got defensive players, and they're talking about maybe getting rid of Joey Bosa. So now you open up more picks, maybe.
Probably for cap reasons, though. That's probably for cap reasons. He makes a lot of bread, always hurt.
I mean, yeah. I mean, he could go to the 49ers, but his brother too. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. That's a good question, though. I just, for me, it ain't just one player. I would say Matt Judon, but, bro, at this point, who knows that shit gonna look like next year. So, anybody else got anything else? All right, man. I'm gonna start off. Hey, look, another good day. I told James, I said I wasn't looking forward to today. If the 49ers would have won, I would have came in happy as hell. But watched the game. I wasn't disappointed. It was a good game. Was looking forward to this. I guess next week we won't be doing it. I don't know. It depends. I get back to yeah, we could take a week off, get some points across. Maybe, yeah, we'll talk offline. But yeah, anyway. It was good seeing you guys. June.
Hey man, it's good. It's good. Good to be here, man. NFL. It feels like you just blink and the season is halfway, and you blink again and it's over. Um. So I don't know. Like Frank said, it's a lot of changes that are going to happen all season. So I'm looking forward to those too. I really want to see those crazy changes because I know once they happen, I know this podcast is going to be insane, especially leading up to the following season. So, hey, super dope to be on here. I know we take a week off or whatnot. Safe travels, Frank. Hopefully, I see you out there. And then we'll go from there. Tomorrow's Valentine's Day, so if you haven't bought your significant other something, this is your chance. If you want to wait to the 15th, that's cool too, because a lot of stuff goes on clearance. You get the half off. So,
Pete, man.
I know football's over. A lot of people are sad, but someone like myself who enjoys the off-season part, free agency, drafts, I'm looking forward to that too. So it's not over yet for me, but as far as the engagement of the sport, because I love this part. Like we just spoke about, what does your team need? Free agency and drafts. That's just, it's almost as good as the season. So looking forward to that. And yeah, see you in a couple of weeks, Frank. Have a safe trip, man.
Thanks, James.
Man, successful season. All right. Unfortunately, none of our teams got to hoist the trophy, so we are looking like some couch potatoes watching the game and giving our take. But yeah, man. We said this before, man. The most exciting part about football is the unknown, the underdog, the moves that's going to be made in the offseason. So I'm excited to look and see what's happening. I want to see what's happening with Belichick. You know what I'm saying? Just some of the offseason stuff that gets the anticipation growing for the next season, man. And yeah, man, we'll chop it up in a couple weeks, and then yeah, let's make this another successful year.
All right, man. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and on Facebook, Offsides Podcast. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks, man. Peace.